Hi, my name is Sienna Daylam.
My name is Jen Hum.
And we are Seeking Bridge.
So what's Seeking Bridge?
Great question.
Seeking Bridge started as a collaboration between 4 dance artists and 2 filmmakers. The other 2 couldn't physically be here today, and then the filmmakers are also not here at the moment, so we're doing an excerpt of a larger work that we're working on. So this is a duet that we are working on, just the 2 of us. So you want to talk about Seeking Bridge, the name?
Yeah, the name.
Oh, yeah. The Seeking Bridge, the name comes like loosely from, there's a form in Wing Chun, I think it's called Samkyu. And it means like, there's different, I feel like there's like, in Kung Fu there's always like the meaning and the meaning behind the meaning, but usually it means when there's a contact point, like when you're fighting, if there's like, if your hands meet, then this is where the bridge is. And that, for us, as a group of Chinese Canadians, is kind of like, where are the bridges between us, that we have similar experiences, and also where is our bridge and connection to different parts of Asian countries that we have connections to, China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, wherever we have ancestry from. So where is that bridge for us with each other, and then with our different identities and nationalities and heritages.
Okay, so who come up with the idea about this dance project? And you all 4, you have 4 dance artists, right?
Yeah. So this particular work that we're working on is called Face to Face, and it kind of explores both of our like individual, personal relationships with the concept of like face in Chinese culture. Also like saving face and your value and stuff like that. And so, yeah, that's kind of like trying to figure out.
Well, our physical face and face as a cultural currency, and like we have known each other for years, so we have talked throughout the years about doing things together, and we all came together, you know, fairly organically. So we had talked about different things over the years, and then so finally we actually made like some time, and we got some money so that we could create something.
So where they got the money? Art Council? Yeah.
Yes, thank you Canada Council, thank you Toronto Arts Council.
Yeah. A bit of advertising, right? It's okay.
Yes, well, they did, you know, it is the government money. So we applied for government grants, all 3 levels, and we did get some money from the government.
Okay.
Yeah.
We talk about like faces, right? So how the dance like to tell us about faces of Chinese Canadian, and then what's real meaning behind this dance project, besides like the Seeking Bridge?
Yeah, I think Face to Face, the work that we're premiering on Saturday and Sunday this weekend, is we're really exploring like just intimate details of what it's like to be us, like these 2 specific Chinese Canadians, versus like, it's not to say that every Chinese Canadian person has the exact same experiences, but we're kind of looking deeply into what we've experienced personally and bringing that to the stage. And I think there's something really special when you make a dance piece that's not like, not anyone can dance it. You can't just be like, oh, anyone can dance this story. It's actually like our story. So it's something that's we've experienced or something that we know to be true. So it's like a sharing of something personal. And we've been having a lot of conversations and exploring that through movement, through talking to each other, just asking each other a lot of questions about what our experiences have been like growing up, what is our experience now, what is our relationship to Chinese culture, what is our relationship to Canadian culture, is it, you know, these questions I feel like for a lot of Chinese Canadians, we often feel like...
Sometimes they feel puzzled, and then the ID, try to find their ID, something like that.
Yeah, trying to find our identity, and also I think there's usually a juxtaposition of like, when you grow up here, that you're either too white or you're you're not Asian enough or you want to be really Asian. Like to be a good Chinese person, you have to do certain things to be a good Canadian. And like, where are you? Where are we in those things, I guess.
A little bit more background about yourself. You both are CBC or?
Yeah, we were both, I was born in Toronto.
Yeah.
I was born in Vancouver and I came over here for dance.
Okay, so you especially come for this dance?
Yeah, I grew up in Vancouver until I was like, I think 18, and then I came to study at a dance school here. Yeah, that's a little bit.
So you two are dance professionals?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we do. I mean, we do other things as well.
We do, I think most dancers do many things, so but dance is a big part of our lives. And that is maybe one of the other questions about what we are investigating, like what is dance to Chinese culture versus Canadian culture? Like are we Chinese people dancing, like, and then do you expect Chinese dancing, like classical dancing, or like what do people expect from us when they see us? Because they see our face, we are Chinese, and then what do they expect? What are the stereotypes that other people place on us because they see that we are, that we look like this?
Your ID, heritage, you know, stereotyping, right? So,
And it's also though as well, like sometimes when as a Chinese person or as a person of color in Canada, sometimes when you're dancing in other dance works, your heritage can get lost. Like you don't get to really express something that's true to you. So this is also an opportunity for us to actually look deeply into what makes us who we are, and explore what that means and things like that.
So through the dance project this time, did you find out who you are?
No.
Still a question.
I think that's a lifelong process for me. It's a lifelong process. This dance is also like an excerpt. It's a very small part of something much bigger. So this is not like a full picture. It's a snapshot into something. And I think, well, I'm speaking for myself. Like it's hard to see yourself sometimes, so you gain perspective about yourself and your identity slowly as you mature as a person.
Yeah.
I think I would say I'd had a sense of myself prior to this dance work, and that's what I'm drawing on, kind of like the experiences that I've experienced in my life that defined who I am. But also I think in asking questions through a dance piece, it's like a pathway to ask yourself really introspective questions about who you are, what you identify with, where you belong, all those kind of things.
So through the dance, what do you expect the audience will get it from the dance? And what kind of like message, feeling they want to share with the audience?
I think it's going to be really different depending on who you are. As you're watching this piece, we've had different people come into the rehearsal process just to watch bits and pieces, and I think the way certain movements are, I think Asian people or Chinese people have a specific reaction. Just like simple things, like if you do something like this, or if you do something like this, like that means something to us because those symbols are something that we've seen growing up or have felt, whether they're good or bad or complicated. Whereas if someone else sees that, they don't necessarily have a feeling. It's just like, oh, someone's making their eyes this way or that way, but we know certain pictures or certain things, what we've been called, what we've been told. So I think the experience will be really different, but I think there'll be something, of course, universal. The human experience is in there, but there'll be something very specific that is very CBC, very Chinese-born Canadian, that we're hoping to kind of put out there as well. Because I think, as Jen was saying, like you can, when you see Chinese people, they're either in a contemporary dance company where they're like doing someone else's work, and then their heritage is erased, or we are on stage doing like specifically a classical or a folk dance or kung fu, which is great because it's like that for me. Kung fu has been part of I've studied Kung Fu since I was little, and I still study and practice like for my whole life. But it's nice to see something that can maybe like bring some of those things together, or do something completely different that's like neither of those things. So you see a lot of different things. We draw from a lot
Yeah.
of things.
Yeah. But you say you have four dancers in this dance piece. So what are the background of the other two? So you two are CBC. What about the other two?
One individual was born in China.
Yeah,
and
then one IT, is that?
Naishi.
Naishi, yeah. Okay.
He was born in China and came to Toronto for dance school when he was
We went to dance school together.
17 or 18.
Okay.
Emily was born in Toronto. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's three CBC, one China born. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're just also really, I think we have different.
Any crash or a chemical effect between you all four?
Which
Any
one?
crash or argument or disagreement?
Like we don't like fight each other, but I think we have different ways of creating. We value different things. And we've just had really different experiences, even having two CBCs growing up together, depending on having just extremely different life experiences.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole point. We all have different experiences. So yeah, sometimes we don't have the same point of view. Sometimes we don't agree. And then it's how do we come to some kind of consensus? How do we come to negotiate something? The whole point is that we have different points of view. We are, even though we're both CBC, we're not the same.
Yeah.
We're not the same person.
Okay. Then back to the play, the dance piece. Is that a contemporary? Is it modern, or what kind of?
There's a bit of everything in there.
Okay, it's fusion.
I think let's put it in contemporary just means of this time.
Okay.
So our piece is of this time. So I would consider it contemporary.
Yeah. But I mean, for example, it's contemporary art, but I would say that for me, because I've done Wing Chun a lot, or I've done Wushu a lot, you'll see elements of that because that's part of who I am. It's how I move. You'll see a little bit of contemporary dance. You'll see ballet. You'll see little bits, not like we're doing a ballet piece, but because all of the movements influence us, we kind of use whatever we can to tell the story. Also, some of it's some of it is that we're talking to each other, asking ourselves questions on stage, live, and making and not having a preset answer. So instead of having a script and being I'm going to say this line, we just have to answer these questions live, and stuff like that.
So my last question: you two are dance professionals, right? So did you been offered some jobs or some performance opportunity, being stereotyping? For example,
stereotyping?
For example, like Chinese actor in Hollywood, they will always be prostitute, fighter, band, those kind of small acting characters. What about you two in the dance profession, in the dance industry? Are you being stereotyping or no?
Yeah, I mean, I think in any arts industry, the reality of that arts industries have a lot of work to do before people are on an equal playing field. They're really not right now. So I would say that the arts are both they're racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, classist. It's just one of those things that's a reality. I'm not sure if you want to share specific experiences, but I think there's there's so many from being in dance school to dance training to how it is out in the field, for sure. I think besides there's stereotyping and being put into a role, and then there's also the reality of not having a role at all. Okay. And so having artistic directors or choreographers or teachers they don't acknowledge that you're there. So for me personally, I would say I think the cool thing about Kung Fu is that for the most part, it's not perfect, but for the most part, if you can do it, then you're good. Okay. If you can do Kung Fu well, no one's going to ask you questions. Yeah. With dance, for me anyways, whether or not I did it well or not, people would see my body and see an Asian person, and then they don't know what to do with me on stage. So even if they would be I don't know how to put you on stage, or you look fragile, or after I dance, they're you're stronger than I thought you would be, but I don't know what to do with you. So when people are in positions of power, I guess they're often telling a story, and if you're not part of the story, then you'll only be a side character or background. And that's also why it's really important for us as CBCs, but also for a lot of different groups of people in Canada to empower ourselves we have to make our own work, because otherwise for some of us we wouldn't be working. Like there's not enough roles for us, and if you don't want to just hold a stick in the background or say something racist or do something like that, then you have to make your own work. Otherwise you're left to just wait, and that's not great as well. I mean, sorry, I'm like rambling, but I would say, yeah, there was one example that really changed my life. Was I was auditioning, I won't say the company, but I was auditioning for a role that was to play a Chinese person in a dance production, and it was for, the call out on the paper was like to play a Chinese person. The piece was set in China, and it was like Chinese person with modern ballet and kung fu, and I was like, oh, that's me, that's so cool. So when I got to the audition, no one was Chinese. And the person that was doing the choreography was just like, just flex your wrist and say, and like do a kung fu pose. And so I did the audition, and then I felt really good about it. At the end, I was like, oh, like I just know kung fu. So I was like, oh yeah, this is great. And then at the end of it, they hired all white people, and then they put wigs on them, and then they just gave them eyeliner because they wanted everyone to be the same height or whatever, for whatever the reason. And that was in 2010 or 11, which is not that long ago. And so at that moment, I was like, oh, if I can't play myself, like if I can't play a Chinese person, and like white people are making those decisions, then I have to do something. I have to create my own work. Otherwise, I won't wait for the opportunity.
Good. All right, thank you so much.
Oh, because when I saw the Dark Crystal, it was the first time I felt like I saw myself. When I saw Jen, the girl playing's name was Jen, and the monkey was brown, and I was like, that's me! That's like the first time I was like, that's me, the brown monkey is me! Like I really was like, thought I was a Muppet or something. What about you? Did you identify with any characters growing up?
No.